Welcome back to another unrecoverable segment. Today's video is probably something I've really dedicated a lot of mental structure, and it's really, really important to me. And it helped me quit smoking weed, basically. Today's date is the 16th of August. Now, I'm going to bring you some evidence of what and where I'm planning to go and what happened to me that changed my life. Just give me a sec. Before we get into this part of unrecoverable, what we came here to do was watch this YouTube video, but this part is really important, and I wanted to inspire you guys. So, February 7th, I tried to work for an airline company when I still smoke weed as of the 7th of February. Now, I didn't stop cold turkey on the 7th, but by the following week, I had stopped smoking weed. I wanted to work for this airline because eventually I wanted to be a private pilot or an airline pilot, and I wanted to work on the apron to be able to go through the 12 months of piloting to acquire my license, and then become an airline pilot or a transportation pilot. But that's what my dream is. So then it led me to straighten my life, but I already knew I was going to fail the doctor's exam for drugs because I smoke weed. But I said, hell, let's try it anyway. And it gave me a rude awakening that I was still following habits that my old life pertained to, even though my mind was in my new life, but I hadn't completely changed. I had to see myself from an external perspective. I had to reap emotional consequences for my goals to have a deep emotional effect in my subconscious. And ever since Valentine's Day, a week after this exam, ever since Valentine's Day, a week after the exam, I had an emotional breakdown where I got really upset because I couldn't be a pilot and I couldn't work for the airline, even though I wasn't going to be a pilot right away, but that was the course of action. All this being said, that's what it took. That's what it took for me to come to my senses. That's what it took for me to realize I was taking the wrong course of action in my emotional life, maybe in my habits, because I was back on track on the treadmill, eating right, exercising. But for some other people, they don't know this about themselves, and I'm here to explain it because it's really important. So today's topic is use repetitiveness to redirect your psychology, stomp out bad behaviors for positive continuation. That's the topic of today. Turning the negative and using it for positive course of actions. Using my negative past, my experiences through this YouTube channel to acquire the means to reach my goals and dreams. It's really that simple. That's why I can't wish bad on no one. That's why I can't be a hypocrite, because of all the course of action I've been taking and all the emotional weight that I've been pulling on myself to get myself away from smoking weed. Without this test, without this reminder, I would have stomped myself out and jumped back into drugs and bad habits. But any man's dream is more important than his bad habits, for sure. It's all about conscious repetition, subconscious adaptation, and automatic repetition through the course of action. So, number one, using repetitiveness to stomp out addiction, bad behavior, and depression. Repetition is how the brain wires habits. Each time you repeat an action, thoughts, or emotional response, the neural pathway associates with it strengthening. This is true for negative cycles as well, like addiction and depression, rumination, and for positive ones like self discipline, optimism, and healthy routines. So, number one, using repetitiveness to stomp out addiction, bad behavior, and depression. Now, through the course of action, I also, and I showed this in my previous video, I have recorded self affirmations that you can find anywhere like Chat GPT, Joseph Murphy's book of the power of the subconscious mind. It's everywhere. So, number one, replacement, not elimination. Now, I'm going to give you the explanation, but to give you the thorough meaning and context of this, it just means you can't quit cold turkey. You got to replace those bad habits with new habits. You got to trump the amusement of those habits with boredom and put amusement and the positive ones through emotional subconscious strengthening. The more you visualize that image of you driving that Porsche, of you driving that Lamborghini, the more you visualize that image of you living your dream with your dream girl, and the more you really crave it and the more you really try to embody it by self-talk and self-acceptation and self-affirmations, you will gain that. You have to believe. You have to believe. The brain doesn't like empty space. If you try just to stop a bad habit, the craving or the void remains. Repetition works best when you replace the negative loop with a positive loop. Instead of reaching for a drink, do 20 push ups or journaling every time the urge resurfaces. Micro action compounds, still part of number one in repetitiveness. Repeated small wins. like making your bed daily, drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, or meditating for 2 minutes creates momentum. Over time, they reduce the power of the bad habits by flooding your nervous system with proof that you can control yourself. Now, the nervous system is part of the brain, which is attached to your whole body. Without it, your body wouldn't react like a human being, you would react like a robot, which means your actions are connected to your emotions. And if you repeat certain things to your brain, it will start reacting in the way of the context of your verbalization. Then the next point on the repetitiveness, ritualization. By repeating and uplifting ritual at consistent times, like morning routines, bedtime, gratitude, journaling, exercising after work, you train your subconscious to accept and crave these healthier cycles the way it once craved destructive ones. Again, that's pretty straightforward, but it's through repetition. You might go through a rough patch. I went through a rough week, but the way that I felt about not being able to advance to what I wanted to do, because that life is going to bring me to be a millionaire. It's going to bring me more increased tax bracket remuneration. The way it made me feel, I realized that my priorities were effed up. So that was part of helping me quit. Unfortunately, it had to happen that way, like a heartbreak. Then the next point, disruption through repetition, which is what happened with this situation here. When depression or addictive urges hit, forcefully repeating a counter thought or behavior, say out loud, I am choosing health while moving your body. Break the chain before it grows. So, why should you say, I am choosing health while you're exercising? Because you're tying again your emotions to your physical. Your emotional, basically your subconscious, while you're exercising, whether or not you can achieve the full exercise that you've achieved, it's like helping you fight laziness while you're exercising. So your body might not reach the full exercise, but your mind is sinking in what you just verbalized. Your mind is thinking, "Oh, this guy's fighting for something he wants." So it's emotional. It's more the emotion at that point is more stronger than the emotion of grabbing a drink or grabbing weed to smoke, because it's still you're still like, you got to remember, when you used to smoke is because you used to think it was cool, or you were achieving a certain social standard. Now emotionally, this situation weighs in more than the habit that you had when you smoked. So in context or in reciprocation, it helps you remind yourself that you shouldn't. Basically, you don't even know you shouldn't smoke. It just reminds you that you should do something else other than smoke to achieve what you want to achieve. It's not even helping you forget. It's just that you're literally interchanging habits. So, number two, on using repetitiveness to redirect your psychology, is redirecting psychology through repetition. What are the repetitions on redirecting your subconscious? Number one, self-talk loops, repeating empowering affirmations. I am building resilience. My choices matter. This rewires self-identity. The subconscious eventually inner the subconscious eventually internalizes these as truths. It's all consistent, but just putting seeds in your guys' heart and your guys' subconscious. The words you choose shouldn't just be one or two words. They have to be words, and this is gonna sound controversial, but they have to be kind of agonizing, kind of cringe, because the first habits for building bad habits, basically, when you started smoking, it was peer pressure. It was internalizing that thing where you had to be quiet about everyone being bullied, because if not, you would be left out the group. So now you have to battle those things, because even though they're not remnant in your everyday life, but your subconscious, with the habit of smoking or drinking, holds that emotion, which is stronger than the memory, holds it remnant, and it helps pair your physical algorithm with the memory, whether the memory is remnant or not, because of your nervous system functioning with your subconscious. So it has to be spirit breaking words, but positively contextual. Then the next point, visualization practices. Now, I'm Christian, I believe in prayer, but I do believe that practices like visualization, you might call them manifestations, but practices through visualizations do work. They are effective if you concentrate on keeping your conscience silent and letting your subconscious give you the information you're waiting on. You will mold your behavior. You will mold yourself into reaching a millionaire status. You will change the configuration of your behavior into a new person. But you have to be very, very concise and consistent, thorough, and faithful to yourself. You have to put yourself through something that's going to weigh in more than the emotion when you want to smoke. This could be for heartbreaks. Use it for what you want, but it works. If you visualize the same positive the same positive outcome daily, success, peace, joy, the subconscious brain treats it as familiar, reducing resistance and fear. The next point, behavior consistency. The more you repeat positive behaviors, reading instead of scrolling, walking instead of smoking, the less psychological effort they require. They start to feel automatic. One huge thing that helps you while you're stressed trying to quit is running or jogging, because the burn of your diaphragm hitting your lungs and shaking your nervous synapses on your lungs is the same as the itch you get when you think you want to smoke, because the itch you get is knowing that you shouldn't smoke. It's not wanting to smoke. What brings you to smoke is that your subconscious doesn't have a mouth of its own. It just helps you feel through your senses. If it had a mouth, it would be telling you not to smoke. But you can interpret your subconscious through first person basis. You have to kind of decode what it wants. So if you repeat yourself by saying positive things, or if you repeat the positive habits little by little, they'll start to become automatic and weave out the bad habits. And then number 3 of the entire theme of today, making the subconscious more suitable for positivity. Your subconscious acts like fertile soil. Whatever you repeatedly plant grows. To make more suitable for positive measures, you should control your inputs. Repetition of what you consume, books, music, people, environments, directly imprints on your subconscious. Curate positivity, growth-oriented influence daily. So, just like people say, Instagram is curated or whatever to make you susceptible to advertisement and bad behavior, there are people like myself posting every day on well-being, on psychological improvement. There are people that are there to help. You just have to look for it. You're literally one click away from changing your life if you consider the fact that you're the problem. Just like I had to consider it, I'm telling you today, dude, please consider looking inward and making sure you save yourself before you miss out on my party. Dude, literally. The next subject, sleep state programming. The subconscious is highly suggestible right before sleep and right after waking. Repeating affirmations, listening to calming positive audio, or visualizing your goals in these states downloads positivity deeper. Now, one thing ChatGPT isn't mentioning here, because I guess the guidelines of the internet don't instruct on how they say strong love, or how they say I can't remember what it is, but also using forceful contextual language. I use it in my affirmations. Listen, I'm not saying tell yourself you're a punk ass and all of this, but use tones that impact your subconscious. Especially you guys that are like me that used to listen every day to rap, and you have those type of toxic friends, and your family is kind of toxic like mine. You have that high tone, that deep voice high tone in your family where everyone talks like a certain way, everyone's rough. If you put those things, like I literally have a affirmation recording that it's me talking tough, saying, you got to stay tough. You got to stay strong out here. Don't let them get any empathy on you. You got to do it. You got to stay strong. You can't let yourself down. It will work. It will sink into your brain. And then at work, you got someone that bothers you. Then put in that headphone and make a recording saying, you can do this. Just ignore whatever trash talk, stuff like that, because it will sink into your subconscious. It will sink in, and you will see the change in your behavior. You'll see how your go more smoothly through life, and the things that used to bother you, you don't pay much attention to, because now you're in, besides being in your own bubble, but you're in your own world now. You're part of a new um path. You're like changing your trajectory kind of thing. You might be going to the same ending because, to be honest with you, everyone's future is already predestined by a divine being, right? It's already written in stone what we're supposed to end up like. But it doesn't mean along the way you got to suffer. Um, so sleep state programming right before you sleep, because right before you sleep, your subconscious knows that it's gonna relax. And just like hypnotism, um, like the power of hypnotism works on people that are induced into a relaxed state, and it works on them because their nervous system isn't on the same frequency as it is when it's in in a reduced state of relaxation. You know, like it's more susceptible. So sleeping or be right before you wake. That's why also in the Bible, and everyone that is taught to you in your church or in your shrine or whatever you go to that gives you the inspiration of divinity, they tell you when you wake up you should be grateful, and right before you go to bed you should be grateful, because everything is already given to you. The way to achieve and the way to acquire blessings is through accepting with gratitude. And then the next part on number 3, emotional inquiry. The next part of making the subconscious more suitable for positivity. Emotional inquiry. Now, some of us, like me, you need hard love. You need tough love. That's what it was. You need tough love instead of just positivity all the time. You need tough love. So, emotional anchoring, pairing repetition with the strong emotions, gratitude, excitement, determination, makes the subconscious adopt the message faster. You see? So, tough love is going to get you faster results. For example, repeating affirmations while exercising anchor positivity to the physical vitality, because it's like when you do a leg day. When you're doing leg day, you do squats, heel ups, and plunges. Then when I was in sports, we used to train with track and field and football, and to get more polymetric results, we used to have to run right after weight training to shock the legs, because the nervous system, how you build muscle through hydration in the muscle tissue, you also can retain muscle structure through your nervous system, through the synapses. So when you shock the nerves, it creates muscle memory, and it gardens your muscles to that particular stress. Just like when you tear muscles, they grow. You shock your nerves, they rupture more efficiently. So the same thing for memories. The more you rupture that memory, the more efficient it will be when you need it to stop a certain habit or anchor yourself to a certain position in your life. Then number 4, the last part of this video, long-term continuation. Now, long-term continuation is only possible, I believe, through emotional anchoring, which is part number 3, behavior consistency, which is mostly through exercise. I would say running is a really good one, and visualizing. I know there's ritualization that comes with visualizing. I know there's disruption of repetition, which is with the emotions. But I really, really suggest you practice those affirmations and those recordings with a bit of tough, a bit of a tough tone in those recordings. It will do some it'll do some life-changing results. I suggest emotional anchoring right before bed, exercising, at least jog, and visualization. Visualize everything you want. Also, you already know by this time you got to put it in effect. But the more you visualize it, the more you get that tingly sensation in the back of your brain telling you it's possible. So for long-term continuation, the key is persistence through boredom. Your subconscious resists at first, but after weeks of repetition, it defaults to the new patterns. You start catching yourself making better choices automatically without trying. So all of this brings down to a cause and effect loop, which is the first thing I read and I spoke about, which is conscious repetition, which sinks into conscious adaptation, and then automatic continuation. It happens just like how you can't control your breathing because you breathe through your subconscious, like you breathe through your lungs, but your subconscious controls it. Just like your blood system, your heart pumping, anything that deals with involuntary movement of your body, you can achieve those same constructs to your memory through repetition and through reaffirming what you want. So I suggest you take my advice, man, because maybe now I'm not a pilot, maybe now I'm not at the place I want to be, but I know I'm gonna make it. Because I've seen the potential in myself before. I've done things that have come to my amazement. I've shocked myself, but it wasn't through the right paths. And the universe, or I call it God, he doesn't want he doesn't want what's gonna destroy you. He wants what is gonna benefit you in the long run. And so does the universe. Like it's about positivity. Forget that forget that negative thought when you feel like you can't do something, you're just making yourself sink down more. I believe you guys can do it. So please support this channel. I have a bunch of great advice for you. Um, just make sure that you emotionally readapt your brain. And thank you for watching. You have a good day.